and welcome to another Cosmology segment, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Tons of stories to cover. Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about Parat and Petroglyphs. We've left links to the video here. It's a YouTube video. And let's give you a little teaser. It'll turn you on to some geographic features you may not have otherwise been aware of.
But this mountain range then blocks it off, and even though these rocks are just as good as here, there are no petroglyphs.
Talking about plasma discharging geologic formations, perhaps have a watch. Now, as I'm always interested in what's going on above my head, looking at in-the-sky.org to see a giant cosmic pileup going on day in and day out, featuring the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, Mercury, and more. Not the least of which is Deneb. Here's where stuff's located from a different perspective, the ecliptic view. And there's where things will be in 1 week. If you're wondering what site we're on, it's theplanetstoday.com. Let's talk about a very important story, the chemical components in the Milky Way galaxy's halo. And while this is an artist's depiction, you've got different dots showing different colors here, such as oxygen in light blue, iron in red. Super important is the chemical makeup of the halo. It's not super surprising that the halo is expected to contain elements in similar ratios to those seen in the Sun. However, less iron than expected. So you really have to ask yourself, what are the forces that drive these heavy elements, as we call everything in astronomy that is higher on the periodic table than helium as a metal? So how are all these metals getting so far away from the galaxy? And of course, some of us have some ideas about this. It's because of astrophysical jets coming out of the poloidal fields of stars, which is really how things do spin up. But I would recommend that our viewers read the article, as the missing matter problem continues. Now let's talk about, let me read this paragraph before I even say the word WIMPs. Whoops, I said the word WIMPs. They found the mass for dark matter particles must be at least 5.58 kiloelectron volts, which is 3,000 times more massive than neutrinos, but nearly 100 times smaller than the mass of an electron, 1/100th the mass of an electron. The latter point is interesting, since most WIMP models, which is weakly interacting massive particles, otherwise known as dark matter, argue for a particle mass 100 times heavier than a proton. Is it because gravitational accretion does not explain the motions of not only intergalactic objects, but also interplanetary objects? I mean, do you really think that there's a bunch of dark matter out there? Seriously? In any case, another super important article about the nature of life, the universe, and everything. And this one is over at Universe Today. The debate over cold dark matter warms as astronomers take its temperature. Now, let's hope that your oil is not being checked by dark matter astronomy, as it's going to waste a lot of your time, as it's wasted lots of people's lives already, as they search for a bunch of stuff that is not there. So anyway, once again, a good article, basically disproving dark matter, suggesting some other forces are at work besides simple gravity, which is running motions of things like, especially galaxies, and the matter therein. As there's no reason to think there's anything other than baryons able to do what's happening out there. So in any case, once again, welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. as physics gets rewritten. And if you want to read more about WIMPs, we've linked to the articles as well as the weekly interacting massive particles. WIMPs are one of the reasons that I got out of science in the mid-90s, actually, because I couldn't stand the current state of affairs of science, so I got the heck out of there and into pro sports. Now, let's talk about the earthquakes at Puerto Rico. Were you aware that the ground has shifted? That's about 15 centimeters, or 5.5 inches. The ground has been sinking and moving to the west. That's down and to the west. Down and to the west. Not back and to the left. So please don't assume that there was a conspiracy involved in the movement of the Caribbean plate via Puerto Rico. We've linked to the article from space.com, and let's give it the fast scroll. As Puerto Rico has been hit over and over again with quakes, and there's some kind of a video about it, which I'm not going to show you, as I don't want to get copyright struck. Anyway, links to the article on space.com there, and welcome to the That Is an Ass and That Is a Hole in the Ground, the vulgarity-free section where we talk about whatever we want, including microwaves. Oh yeah, got to talk about microwaves. Now don't worry, we're not going to complain about people destroying their microwaves. Please don't run your microwaves empty, as that'll microwave your microwave, which is bad for things like outlets and so on. Let's talk about microwaves coming out of the sun. Turns out that microwaves are involved with solar flare activity. Who would have guessed? Well, apparently a lot of radio astronomers would have guessed, as they've been capturing the explosive first minutes of solar flares in microwave frequencies. So perhaps have a read about that. It's courtesy of the expanded Owens Valley Solar Array Radio Telescope. And I'm a prime example of somebody who used to think radio astronomy was boring. And I no longer think radio astronomy is boring, folks. I am just as interested in polarization pathways as I am in ionization pathways. Let's talk about another article. We've left links to the science.com article as well. That's the, let's talk about being cringeworthy. Please leave a comment if you think U.S. politics are cringeworthy. And also head to smashomash.com/forum if you haven't done so yet. Check out this story. It's a national news story about a man suing Pornhub over lack of closed captions. Apparently he was not properly abled to deal with the deep, deep dialogue in pornography films. So he is filing suit. I don't know how much he's asking for. Please leave a comment if you'd like to give him advice as to what his damages are. And thanks for tuning in to the cringeworthy segment. The segment that's utterly cringeworthy. And let's get back to space, as it's fun to be spaced out. Check out Zooniverse.org's Galaxy Zoo area. Do some citizen science, perhaps classify a galaxy. We've left links to that as well. It's Zooniverse.org, the world's largest citizen science project. By the way, if YouTube asks you about how good it is while you're viewing our video, please click absolutely outstanding and then watch our older videos. Please press like and subscribe. And please, again, head to smashomash.com/forum. Check out our various human health articles about things like exposure to BPA or even the alternative turning out to have similar leaching issues. Some bad outgassing happening. And a new article's posted. By the way, viewers, get rid of soybean oil. Get the soybean oil out of your diet. It's cheap. It's all over all kinds of crap that you shouldn't be eating, like cheap mayonnaise, salad dressing, and other poisons disguised as food. If you want to read all about it, again, check out smashomash.com/forum. And here's the article. We'll link to that below the video as well. If you'd rather link to it via Google servers versus our own servers, where we won't censor you or shadow ban you or do very much of anything within the confines of the law. And here's the article about the bisphenol S, which messes with heart function. Probably something you don't really want to do. And let's talk about viruses showing up on the doorstep, perhaps, as the CDC and Homeland Security begin screening for Chinese coronavirus at 3 major U.S. airports. Turns out the outbreak has been spreading in Asia. Apparently, more than 40 human infections and at least 2 deaths as of about 14 hours ago. Let's hope the situation isn't getting worse. But in any case, there's screening going on in airports. And I was kind of excited when the boss told me I don't have to go to the airport anymore to do the applied science job. I told him that's okay. I don't mind less exposure to flesh-eating bacteria. Hey, Smash team. Thanks for tuning in. There are bonus segments. Were you aware of David Dubine's recent book, Climate Revolution? How we're cited in that book? The YouTube channel and me by name. By the way, I'm your host, smAsho. Daniel J. Nigro, a.k.a. smAsho. And don't Google anything. Don't use Google as a verb. But if you do a web search, if you search for Daniel J. Nigro, I'm not the fire chief of New York. All right? Just so you know. I am, however, smAsho at YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and BitChute, Minds.com, Gab, and all over the internet. And apparently I'm in David Dubine's book. Now, I've known this for a long time, as this was published in like August, and we started pumping it in September to facilitate prepping month. So we were talking about prepping, and we were citing different sections of the climate revolution. Sorry, David, not to give away too much information there. We only gave little tiny blurbs. So in any case, perhaps pick out the book Climate Revolution if you haven't done so. Link to that at oilseedcrops.org, also below the video. And there's the website. We just loaded it just so you can see it live. Check out Adapt 2030's YouTube page also. Perhaps shout out to David. Give me a ring on Skype. And here's me talking about the book
these videos.
And about prepping
You
month.
can also donate on PayPal. Or if you're in the market for CBDs as medical advice, let's talk about Disaster Preparedness Month, which is September.
And there's a little teaser. We talked about disaster preparedness every single day in our daily space weather videos throughout September. So perhaps check those out. Left links to that video as well. We just
That's it. That's the center body right
picked it
there.
out randomly. Now here's Mr. Dubine talking at LeakCon 2019. Shout out to David Moriello. Thanks for the heads up, where we get cited in this presentation by Mr. Dubine.
Also, if there's real changes, we should start to see changes in the solar wind.
And of course, we look at this daily, this particular data. So links to that video from LeakCon as well are below this one. Also, we picked a random section of an older video. And this one's actually all the way back from March 29th. There's a clip.
For a minute.
This one apparently made on a mobile device. How you like them apples? Anyway, links to that video as well below this one. Also, please don't forget to press like and subscribe on YouTube. Rate our channel, leave a comment, etc. Watch our older videos. There's a lot of information that you may not be aware of in there, so perhaps check it out. And don't forget to check out smashomash.com/forum. A great new spot to have conversations about whatever you want, as well as share a bunch of data, and a great way to organize your information. Here's a local yellow dwarf in 171 angstroms. The latest view, complete with date stamps. And not a lot going on there. It's we're seeing some pretty weak solar activity here, so there's the current state of affairs. Let's bring up the movie right after I tell you to become a patron. Support the channel if you are able. We've got only 2 tiers right now, $1 a month and $9.99 a month. And the gold patrons are the ones who are getting all of the extra audio files and so on. So perhaps consider becoming a patron, or perhaps do a token investment of $1 a month to just support the channel. Let's check out one more thing here, the local yellow dwarf in 131 angstroms. It's the 48-hour view. We are out, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. Remember to stay spaced out, and we'll be coming at you soon with more content.